All right, dome dwellers and solution seekers, how you doing today? Coach Scott's bringing yet another interview for you. And today we've got more of a hands-on approach, something a little different than past interviews. And so we're at Gratitude Farm, and we've been pretty amazed about what we've seen so far, and we're going to show you what they have to offer during this interview. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the owner of Gratitude Farm. This is Joseph. Joseph, this is my constituents. We call them self-sustainers.
Self-sustainers, hello.
Yep. They are solution seekers. We're always seeking solutions like what you're doing.
Sure.
So in this case, he's not only growing, but he's also got a retreat center. And we're going to show you both of those things and ask a few questions along the way. So go ahead and introduce yourself and introduce your farm.
Yeah, hi. My name is Joseph Shamus. My wife and I bought this piece of land in Loxahatchee Groves. 2014, and we've been building it for about 10 years now. We started off as just a certified organic farm, growing mostly turmeric and starting off early in mushroom production, and then started working more to more medicinal herbs and veg. And then we planted a couple, a fruit orchard, so we have multiple varieties of fruit trees also. So we're pretty well-rounded on what we do. Right now, we specialize mostly in gourmet organic mushrooms, and we sell those to restaurants and produce distributors and stuff like that. And we do 4 or 5 farmers markets every weekend. So we've been serving the community for quite some time. And then just in the last year, we finished construction of our glamping retreat, where we have it's more like an agro-tourism retreat, which we mixed in with the farm. So people can come here and we teach them how to grow different things like mushrooms and microgreens and gardening and fruit tree pruning and skills that they can take home with them, especially if they have a homestead or something, some land that they can play with. Sure. You can get some really good ideas out here.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we are in one of his glamping domes right now. They are beautiful. And so he's got 9 of them on the property here, all for your use if you've got a need for an event, and we'll talk about that towards the very end. So awesome. So you've spent most of your time as a farmer on this land.
Correct.
What actually inspired you to do this?
Because when we came to build this farm, we wanted to grow the most nutrient-dense medicinal foods that we could, create plant medicine from them, help different people with different ailments. I came from an ailment, so that's why, the saying that we say a lot over here is your passion can stem from your pain. Sure. So, when I went through, health challenges, I found different methodologies to be able to heal myself and become vibrant again, Nice. So growing my own food and sustaining from eating food that I had my whole life with junk food, standard American diets, switching from that, eating raw sprouted foods, vegan foods, a lot of juicing, smoothies. I did that for many, many, many years. And so it's been about 15 years since my health challenge. And now I've been so busy, consumed with the farm that everything else just becomes a blur, So I definitely have to work a little bit more on the self a little bit more to slow down and enjoy what we've created, but we're still creating, So when we're in creation mode, we just go until it's finished, and then we get to enjoy what we've created. So
and in some part there too, the work of a farmer is never done.
Never.
Right?
Never.
So you may get a day or two.
It's definitely not the most lucrative of jobs, but it's a very fulfilling job. So we love it because we're creative, and I don't work in an office. I create my own hours. I grow what I want to grow.
Sure.
I sell what I want to sell. I have complete, we have the complete creative freedom to do what we want, which brings out the best in what we do.
Sure.
If you're forced to do things you don't like, the product isn't going to be as good as if you love something.
Correct. Yeah. So speaking of that, you're not too far away from a city.
From a what?
From a city.
Ah, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so because of that, you had to go through a little bit of back and forth on what can you put and provide on this farm.
Correct.
So it's difficult in today's world for us self-sustainers to be self-sustaining and provide that for the people.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So initially, I wanted to do shipping container homes and have like a retreat center and have a 40-footer with a 20 on top and have really cool sustainable homes that we could trick out and make them really fun and have an experience with it. But they wouldn't let me do that here. So they don't want permanent structures like that. Now, under the agritourism laws, you're allowed to do camping on your farm, so long as you're a bona fide farm, which we are. So these are tents. They're nice tents, but they're still tents.
Yes.
So I could break this tent down in a day if I so choose.
If you had to, yeah.
I mean, they are pretty hurricane proof. We had a 70, 80 mile an hour winds throw here. We just got missed by those tornadoes, but they handled the 80 mile an hour winds like a champ, like nothing. I had a bunch of trees fall down around the farm. Domes nothing. The windows didn't blow in. Nothing. Perfect. Just glided right off the top.
Yeah.
So I was a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. I was definitely a little nervous because I've never had a test yet. Even though it was a small test, it was still a test.
Sure.
They handled 80 mile, and the big dome handled the 80 mile an hour winds. No problem.
No problem.
So I was like, okay, a little bit, breathe a little bit easier.
Well, the good news is, and I'm always telling my followers, is that domes are stronger than normal homes.
Correct.
Primarily because the wind's also just going to go right over them. It's not a straight wall. It's not going to be hitting you, so it's going over.
That's true. That's true.
So this is a good thing about the domes. All right, fantastic. So you're going to show us a few things today, but before you do, what is it that you grow on the property?
So we grow about 9 to 12 varieties of organic mushrooms, specialty mushrooms. So more rarer gourmet varieties like lion's mane. We grow piopinos, black trumpets. We grow all the oyster varieties like the goldens, the pinks, the blues, the whites. We grow some chestnut mushrooms, are really nice. So we grow some coral tooth also, and then some medicinals like turkey tail, reishi, those kind.
Nice.
Working on some cordyceps. I'd like to start doing cordyceps, but that's a different animal. But definitely looking to do that also. And we have our medicinal tincture line that we make with our turmerics and our lion's mane and our reishi.
Nice.
That's what we started making years ago before these became really popular. Now they're in everything.
Everything,
Yeah, but we do the dual extraction method. So it's the old, tried and tested, true way of extracting. So we stick with that method.
So mushrooms are done indoor for you, right? In containers?
No, yes. They're grown inside in containers, reefer containers. They like around 60 to 65 degree temp. And that's the challenge of doing that in South Florida. So we used strong ACs, and we use a little ante-room that we chill prior, so that when we do air exchange, we're not shocking the mushrooms.
Ah, okay. So you have to worry about those types of things.
You do, yeah, because it's not like we're in Pennsylvania. The air is not 50 degrees outside.
It's not.
It's 100,
and
the mushroom's like 60 degrees. So when you change the room, when you're sucking 100-degree temperature into a room that's 60, AC has to work harder, and it just becomes a problem.
Sure.
So we have to think of all these little things.
Nice. So mushrooms and what else?
We grow veg. We've got, during season for our markets, we grow about 40, 50 varieties of more exotic veg, certified organic, heirloom varieties, tomatoes, grow a lot of Japanese greens and turnips and cool little stuff, French breakfast radishes, arugulas, different varieties of gourmet eggplants, cool stuff that you don't really find in stores.
Sure. Many people don't understand, but Florida, we can grow year-round. That stated, the summer's very tough for growing things. So we're coming out of summer now, so I'm sure you've planted for the next season.
I have started, yes, but we're planting all the time because we're not a mono farm. We don't just plant one crop and then cross our fingers and just harvest a big thing and sell it. We don't do that. So we're planting, succession planting every week. I'm doing a bed of radishes, a bed of turnips, a bed of arugula, a bed of sorrel, and I'm just rotating. I'm just adding different things. We also have a greenhouse. We do seedlings, planting different varieties of like peppers and eggplants and stuff like that, tomatoes, that kind of stuff, and then fruits too.
Most of the stuff that you provide it to the farmers markets, or do you have restaurants and whatnot that you sell to?
Restaurants are just for the gourmet mushrooms and the microgreens. Okay. I don't sell the veg because I'm a smaller farm and I want to supply the community. So if I sell it all to restaurants, I'm never going to get any veg. So I do have one chef, the one that works on our retreat, Chef Colin. He is a special case because he wants stuff for his he does meals, prepared meals.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to buy directly off us to
Gotcha.
put in his meals. So
Nice.
I'm going to help him as much as I can, but I have to give my markets.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. So let's switch from the growing now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your retreat center.
Yeah.
From my understanding, you provide retreats for hosts who want to do a retreat, and
Right.
you don't necessarily do retreats yourself, meaning you don't teach yoga or anything like that. So yoga teacher comes in, they bring in 20 or 30 people, and they rent out your space. Is that correct, or is it a mix?
It's a mix. So my wife and I, we do our own specialized agritourism retreat.
You do, okay.
Yeah, just from that me and her run, where I teach my classes, she teaches her classes. Her classes are more on products and extraction and stuff like that. So she teaches a lot of like more the herbalist part of the farm classes, and I teach more of the growing style.
Beautiful.
So I teach more like the mushroom growing, the microgreen growing, the gardening, different techniques, stuff like that. So I teach that also. And then we incorporate it with a yoga teacher and breath work. We do some breath work, and then we also have a sound healer.
Nice.
And then we also have the infrared saunas, the cold plunge pool.
Cold plunge, right.
We got a pickleball court in the corner too. We have one of those.
And how many of those do you do a year?
So my wife and I will probably do 2 to 3 a year that are our signature retreats, our gratitude garden retreats. But we have a lot of hosts that are doing all kinds of cool retreats within our space.
In between that time.
Yeah, so majority of our business is working with hosts and helping them create their perfect retreat. Because they might just be yoga teachers, right? Which is great, but it can get a little boring, just yoga. It'd be nice to throw in something cool. Now, we throw in the chef and all of our food in conjunction with the retreat.
Part of those retreats.
So they don't have to worry about anything. All the drinks, all the food, everything. And it's predominantly plant-based. If you don't want a plant-based, we're able to do fish and meats also, but we prefer it to be plant-based, but it's up to the host, obviously. So our chef can do everything. He's very talented. And you've got all the domes, and we have an RV for the host to stay. Beautiful. So he doesn't have to stay, or they don't need to stay in one of the domes when they spend the night here. They can take the RV, and then they can leave the 9 domes for their guests.
Beautiful.
We also have a full gym with free weights and cardio. We'll have an outside infrared sauna and a cold plunge pool.
Nice.
So
nice. We'll show those to you somewhere mixed into this video, guys, so don't worry about that. All right, beautiful. I'm not going to spend too much time on this portion of the interview because we're going to walk around and see a few things.
Sure.
I suppose we can leave it at this. How can somebody get a hold of you if they want to do a retreat of any style, either yours or theirs? How do they get a hold of you?
gratitudegardenfarm.com. So the name of the farm is actually gratitudegardenfarm.com. And that website just goes to the retreat section. And then you can just fill out whether you're interested in attending a retreat or hosting a retreat. And then there'll be a number there. You can just contact us, and we'll be happy to talk to you about what you want, and we can customize for you. So if you are a yoga teacher, but you just know how to do yoga and nothing else, we can give you a musician. We can give you a sound healer. We can give you a really amazing yoga teacher. I can teach you a class too if you need one. So we've got plenty of incredible classes that you can pepper into your retreat just to make it a well-rounded retreat.
Beautiful. And you live on the site, right?
I've lived here for 10 years, yes. While we were building the farm, I lived in a tiny house for 320 square foot house for 9 years with my wife.
You and the wife.
We're still married. I don't know how. It's amazing.
Nice.
But yeah.
All right, dome dwellers and solution seekers. This is Coach Scott, and we're going to, like I said, pepper in different venues that we've been talking about into this. So let's get to the next portion of the interview. Peace out. So here are the domes we were talking about. Use these for your own personal retreat, or you can come to one of Gratitude Farm's retreats.
Here, I want to show you a spot too. Look over here, Scott.
Okay.
Take a little walk. So like amongst the domes, we plant a lot of fruit trees and veggies during season. So we're just about to start planting veggies. We got like carambola over here. We got peanut butter tree, Tahitian gardenias. We got some chaya, some guava, some flowering ginger. We also have some Costa Rican passion fruit growing up the trellis. We got different varieties of bananas. That's some namois over there, some Mysores, black bamboo, and sugar cane. And then, you know, there's domes that are deeper in the jungle and some a little bit more on the outskirts, but everything is private, so no one can see anyone else.
Nice.
So we're just building out that new section right now and finishing the planting. But this section's had a year to grow in, and you can kind of see the privacy that it provides with the fauna.
When do you think these will start fruiting?
They've been fruiting, so we've got some carambolas actually starting to fruit right here. You can kind of see.
Oh, sure enough.
But they're still a small tree. I would probably let it get bigger, but it's going to want to spit out a lot of fruit. I don't want it to spit out fruit. I want it to kind of get bigger, but it will take off here shortly. But yeah, we're planting all kinds of butterfly fauna. This is milkweed, and butterflies tear this up, so which is a good thing. It's kind of why we planted it.
Sure. So, question for you. I see you do a lot of soil
compost. Yeah.
So, are you growing mostly in soil?
Yeah, I grow. I'm a soil grower. I grow in compost, organic compost. We add worm castings. We add a little bit of organic chicken poop. But we get certified organic compost delivered to the farm, and we try to make our own also out of the blocks. So right now, when we're done with our mushroom blocks, we send them to a partner farm of us in Miami, and they have a worm farm. And we feed all the mushroom blocks to the worms, and then the worms make worm castings, and then I get back the worm castings to use on the farm. So Beautiful. It's kind of cycle. So,
it is, yeah. So good. Talk about a little bit, and you can walk. Let's just walk to the next location. They can hear you because your mic is on. So,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Talk about the importance of organic versus the conventional stuff that we find in the grocery stores typically.
Well, we don't spray anything here. We only use organic methods of fertilization, if we even fertilize, but we usually just use compost, crop rotate, grow what does well at that time of the year, and that's 90% of your problem. So we don't, whatever you buy in the store, eat out, you're usually getting a lot of pesticides, chemicals, it's causing us to get sick, but we don't realize it because it's in everything. Right. So you only start to realize it when you actually pull yourself off everything and you're eating very pure. Then when you get something bad, you feel it right away. So,
absolutely.
So yeah, it's important to take care of yourself. And at our farm here, we grow everything. So we're USDA certified organic, one of the only ones in South Florida. Yeah, we are.
That's an expensive certification.
It is, but it was important for us to, for our customers to know that we're real and we're not just one of the guys at the farmers market that says that. Yeah. We actually have the logo. If you actually have that logo, you are.
Gotcha.
But everybody says organic, and I don't see any logos. So
Here's the bathroom for the retreats, guys. Built out of a shipping container, and you're gonna love what he's done on the inside. So let's go take a look. So not your normal farmer's bathroom. You have your own unique showers, toilets. They're all air conditioned, just like the domes are.
Farm pictures.
Nice. This is for the host. So if you want to bring a group here, this is what you get to stay in. It's got its own separate bathroom, bedrooms, and there's enough space in there for how many?
At least 3 to 4.
3 to 4 in there.
Yeah, there's 3 to 4 beds.
Now, a lot of what we teach is sustainability. Okay. And this is what your farm is about, right? So talk to us about what you believe sustainability is and how do you practice that on the farm here?
Well, I mean, we're as sustainable as we possibly can. I mean, we could be more. I'd love to get some solar. But, those are, unless you can get grants and stuff, they become expensive. They're expensive to set up, especially for what we got over here. It's not like I just throw up a panel and I'm gonna get enough juice to run this place.
Right.
We suck a lot of juice out of here. So I am supposed to be meeting with a solar expert for my house and for the farm, because we do have a bunch of shipping containers, and they'll make a nice little spot for those solar panels.
Right.
So I want to know how much juice we can generate from the solar to see if we can go, you know, fully off grid, not fully, but at least partially off grid.
Yeah.
And then obviously we grow our own food. So we have fruit growing all year long. We've got veggies growing all year long, even in the summer, but we're limited to, you know.
Right.
But we do have the luxury of not being under snow for 5 months out of the year.
Correct.
So we can still grow stuff.
Still grow stuff.
So, and also we built this because if something does, you know, if I don't want to get too deep down the rabbit hole, but if something does, if the crap does hit the fan and I need a place, you know, to kind of get away from major cities, we're still close enough. So it's not like we're out in the boonies, but I could lock those gates and I can survive out here for months at a time without leaving this
Sure.
farm. And that's kind of, you can have my loved ones, my close friends can come here, stay here. We can lock the door. We can survive here, no problem.
Nice.
So for me, that was important to have a place, even if it's not in the middle of the boonies up in the Ozarks.
Sure.
Even though I am working on one over there too. That's my next one. The greens that you can see over there, Maribel's harvesting some gorgeous sunflower.
So this is a harvesting area?
This is a partial harvesting area. Yeah, we're going to have some more tables out here to harvest. Actually, we have those tables already, Maribel. I'm going to put them out here for you. Okay. And then this is these are our microgreens. They're sunflower. Really good on salads. I'm sure you've tried them before. We got some seedlings over there. But we've been planting mostly everything. This is, every week we make new seedlings.
So do you direct plant, or do you like
both.
You do both?
We do both.
Okay.
We do the bigger crops like the kale, the peppers, the eggies, the tomatoes, we do in seedling trays. And then the stuff that I can reseed like arugula, radish, sorrel, you know, turnips, those kind of things I can roll. And then I have a machine that rolls. I can show you the field. Yes. So you can kind of see that.
All right, so is this where you do most of your veggies?
Yeah, this is like a market, a market garden. So we do a bunch of veggies here. We got arugula, we got some turnips, radishes, onions, pak choy. We've got kale planted over there. We've got Swiss chard down there, mustard greens, and baby ginger growing. We got all sorts of cool veg growing for markets. We planted a bunch of peppers and eggies too. And this is basically what we use for our retreat. So the chef will come out, harvest everything from the retreat and make incredible plant-based food. You know, depending on if you're getting plant-based or, you know, pescatarian or vegetarian, whatever you want.
Is this where you supply your produce for the farmers markets also?
Yes, we do. I'll show you right over here. Let's come look over this side. So here we planted some baby kale. Kale's popping off right over here. We've got some eggplant interplanted with cilantro right here. And we've got some arugula also interplanted. Got some opal basil over there. Here I'm stripping the bed right now, getting that ready.
So, interjection for you here.
Yeah.
I noticed you've done a raised bed type of growing method here.
I have both.
You have both in the dirt and raised bed.
I do both.
So talk to us about why you've done both.
Well, this is more aesthetically pleasing for, let's say, retreats and stuff like that. It's cleaner. It's up high. Okay. If we do get flooding, I don't flood out on these beds. I can grow in these beds. Sometimes the fields will get flooded out because they're, you know, in the ground. Yeah. Where these are up high and I have drains in this pad. Gotcha. So if we get a flood, my beds are fine. Gotcha. So that was partial reason why I did that. Also, other partial, it can be prettier a little bit. I do love the fields too, but I have multiple fields too. So I've got hoop houses that are in fields, and then I have turmeric. I have a couple of turmeric fields also, and I have one in the orchard too. So I've got a bunch. Actually, the majority of my beds are actually in the field, and I have I would say about half. Yeah. Okay. Actually, those are much longer than these. These are only 40-foot beds. Those are like 120-foot beds, and then I have 100-foot beds in those both orchards. So we have a few.
Wonderful.
These are my wasabi greens. Have you ever tried those?
Ooh,
just last week.
Spicy, huh? They got a little kick to them. They're really nice. And this is some Swiss chard right here. I got some gorgeous, look at these beautiful Frenchies right here. Little baby French breakfast radishes we already harvested for this weekend. We've got some sorrel growing over there. That is like the lemony green. That's a favorite at the markets. I have another bed right there popping off too. But they take forever to grow.
Do they?
Yeah, they take forever to grow. But they're worth it because then they're here pretty much all season. You can come again from them. Right over here, these are a favorite too. These are Hakurai Japanese turnips.
Beautiful.
These are really, really great.
Nice.
So, blue 12, never hurt anybody. But really, really tasty. They got like a sweetness to them.
Nice.
Which is, I would never be excited about turnips, but they're actually pretty tasty.
Right. On our way to see some mushrooms. Go.
All right, guys, we're in our mushroom section of the farm, and we make our own blocks. We do everything from scratch, from A to Z. We didn't start off like that because that's difficult. So, you know, we had to learn and almost fail 1,000 times until we finally got it. And even now, we still struggle from time to time. It happens, part of mushroom growing. So we make our own blocks right here. We use a wood pellet. It's a 50-50. It's called a master's mix. It's about 50% soy hulls, organic soy hulls with oak wood, compressed into a pellet. We mix it with water. It gets sealed, goes into the steamer. This is about to go into the steamer right now because this is mixed with water right now, and that's going to get cooked. So that's going to get in there and it's going to get cooked overnight. You can see the top one steaming right now. See that one steaming away?
I do.
That one's finishing up a cook. That will be done in about an hour or two. We're going to take those out and put in the fresh ones are waiting to go in.
So you cook these, why?
We have to sterilize the medium, so when we take them in our lab, we inoculate the variety of mushroom spores that we want in the bag.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're competing against 1,000 other spores that are in the wood or in the air. So we have to be super sterile when we're inoculating, when we're adding the spores of, let's say we want lion's mane, we got to put the spores of the lion's mane in that bag. But only the spores of the lion's mane, not everything else.
Not everything else.
You can't breathe in there, you have to be clean. And then we seal that up and we let it sit for 2 to 3 weeks. Turns the block white with mycelium. Then we pull it out, put it in the grow room, cut it up, and then 7 to 2 weeks later, they start to fruit.
Wow.
So that's how the cycle works. It usually takes about a month from beginning to end, depending on the cultivar of mushrooms. Some will take 2 months, some take 3 months. So it's all about succession planting, systematically knowing exactly how many blocks you got to make to when you need to harvest.
Sure.
So that's always something that takes experience, a long time to figure that out. And sometimes the mushrooms do what they want. No matter, usually we can get it pretty like on the day timing, but sometimes they don't want to cooperate. Yeah, sometimes. So these ones are not, they're not in the right room, the blue room right now. We're fixing out, yeah, if you close that door, thanks guys. So this is typically a lion's mane room only. You can see the pin set of the lions, they succession planted. This we cut this week, this we cut last week, and then we already harvested this week's harvest. So this should be at the end of next week. So I'm timing this for next market. So 7 days from now, that should be ready. So we've already harvested for the day, but you can kind of get an idea of what some of it. Right here, we have some blues, but these blues are not very pretty right now. This is not our top quality. They're not supposed to be grown in this room. So we're moving them to the downstairs room as soon as it gets finished. So right here is some of the lions. You can see a harvest being prepared right now. It's not quite ready yet, but you can kind of see it coming. And right here, you can see this is second flush. So first flush is one big slit, like this slit, and you get one big massive mushroom, probably about 2.5 pounder.
Okay.
And then second flush, you usually get about a pound of lions. So you can see that's still baby. That's a little bit more ready. That should be ready by tomorrow morning. Pretty ready right now, actually. So these are called second flushes, but they're still nice little nugs, you know?
Gotcha.
They're denser and a little bit heavier than the first flush, but they're nice.
How long will one of these survive that you can use and reuse?
We do 2 flushes out of it. So the first flush, like I showed you the big slit like that, and then once we harvest that, we turn it upside, we flip the bag over, and then we make little two cuts on the top, and we wait for those 2 pom-poms to pop, then we harvest those, and then they get composted after the second flush.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The blues we harvest once and toss, but that's not my shelf. So the grow rooms don't have to be, the only sterile room has to be the lab, not the grow rooms. The grow rooms mimic a forest floor.
Okay.
So, you know, you've got animals outside, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we get frogs in our room, and the frogs are our organic pesticide because we get in the oyster rooms, in the warmer rooms, you get a lot of fruit flies. You get a lot of fruit flies. So we're not allowed, you know, we're certified organic, we don't want to spray anything.
Yeah.
And we can't even use sticky traps. We're not allowed to use those because they have poison on them.
Yeah.
So we don't use those.
Nice.
So we use frogs and vinegar.
Nice.
Apple cider vinegar in little totes, in little like half-gallon buckets, and we leave them all throughout the grow room, and all the fruit flies fly in there, and then the rest the frogs get. At night they just eat them.
Nice.
Pretty cool. Corner of a room, you can see the pinks popping off right over here. And I've got some of my goldens right over here. You can see all the goldens. You see the little flies right here? Just the little fruit flies. That's what the frogs usually get. And that's what the vinegar uses. Look, you see right here? We use this vinegar. You see that vinegar? So that's apple cider vinegar, and it's like full of fruit flies. They fall in for some reason. I don't know why they like it. Okay, good. Nice. And then right here, these are our pinks. They're not going to be, I mistimed them as usual. They're not going to be ready for Saturday. These might be ready for the morning, maybe. But they're still small. So I'm going to have a crap ton for Sunday market, but very little for Saturday market. This is the timing issues. So
how much?
You can see, look, they're wanting to grow right now. You see them?
See that.
See how they're popping off? They're getting bigger right now. So I'm hoping tomorrow morning they'll be double in size, but it's going to probably be Sunday morning, unfortunately. Seems to be the story of my life. It's the Black Kings right here. And we got some chestnuts in here too. So this is our colder room. You can probably notice the difference in temperature. And then look further up on the right. Those are the chestnuts. Those are the ones that take the longest. They take like 8 weeks, 9 weeks to grow. Yeah, but they're beautiful mushrooms.
How much of this goes to farmers market versus your restaurants?
I have, these sections are just for me. So I have certain sections just for my markets, and then the rest is for the restaurants. It can cause irritation in your gut lining. Yeah, so low FOD is pretty cool. Working out.
We're just trying to go, you know, like how our body feels.
Sure. Yeah, but they've already figured out what irritates most people's gut lining. So you stay away from certain foods. It's not as many as you